story time today? It's about how I got mugged, actually, I got pistol whipped in Paris. So for this story time, I have decided that I need to drink a little bit because A, the story is very crazy, B, I kind of felt like having a cocktail, and C, I would like it if you had a drink with me. So if you are of age, I would like you to pause me. I won't mind. And I want you to go get yourself a cocktail. If not, or if you don't want to drink, or if this is like 10 a.m., you don't need to drink. It's a potato vodka. It doesn't make you hungover. It also is amazing. That's kind of a lot. But this is a long story. Guys, like my hat, I want it to be, that's from Parisian. My friend actually gave me this for my birthday from like 2 years ago. I don't know if I have it on right. It's just like a clip. Oh, you doing this right? Oh my god, it hurts. Ah. Yeah, it's just like a clip. Maybe that's better. I think that's better. Have it more up. And I'm going to use OJ as a mixer because I normally do tonic water or soda, as you would say. However, I do not have any, and I'm really sad about that. Also run out of straws. Where am I? Whatever. Okay. Pretend you've mixed it with a straw or spoon. I don't want to get up again. Hello, everyone. Let's talk about Paris and Christian. So a little bit of back information about myself in Paris is that I always loved Paris. Before I went to Paris, I was obsessed with Paris. I was obsessed with everything about Paris. I remember taking out a book from the library when I was in the 3rd grade about Paris. I remember on my very first computer getting a CD on how to speak French. I always was obsessed with Paris. I got a poodle because I loved Paris. I wanted to know everything about Parisians. I want to know everything about Paris. I remember when I was in high school, my very first boyfriend, he had told me that he went to Paris and he hated it. And told me all these bad things about it. And I remember being so angry because I was like, that is not how Paris is. I'm going to go there and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the most beautiful and wonderful place, and I'm going to save up to go to Paris. I remember getting savings bonds and doing all this stuff and thinking, I'm going to use this money and I'm going to go to Paris. I just remember being obsessed with Paris. Like, one day I'm going to go to Paris, you know? Like, Paris, that's going to be me in Paris. Okay, so when I went to college, there was a newsletter, you know, that most schools have. And in the newsletter, it said, trip to Paris. And I remember seeing that and looking up with the Eiffel Tower in my eyes and thinking, this is it. I'm gonna go to France. This is it. I'm gonna go to France. This is gonna be the most amazing trip of my entire life, and I'm so excited. Okay, so I was 21, going to Paris. I had to convince my parents to pay for it, which my mom was like, really didn't want to, because it was, you know, it's expensive. We spent like 4 months in Paris. So think about it. Think about how expensive that is. So, I remember when the plane was taking off, I sat next to these 3 girls, and I really liked them. We all became close friends for the trip. And this girl, like, we were, you know, getting the meals or whatever, and she was like, oh, I don't eat meat. And I was like, I don't eat meat either. Which actually was a lie, because at the time, I did eat meat. Not a lot, but I occasionally ate meat. Not thinking that once I said that to her, for the rest of the trip, I was like not gonna be able to eat meat because this girl was with me every day. So I kind of like fucked myself out of like a lot of really good meals because I was like, no, I'm not gonna eat meat. But now I'm actually a vegan and I don't eat meat, so it's not really that bad. But at the time I was like, no meat whatsoever. So I remember we were on the flight and this like girl next to me was like, hey, are you okay? Because like you seem really like you seem really like anxious. She's like, here, like take a pill. So I took like a Xanax and somebody else gave me something. I was at fashion school, so these girls were like. So I took like 10 different pills during this, you know, 16-hour flight. And then I remember like at one point I was like telling this other girl, I was like, I took like 10 pills already. And this other girl I told other people, and then all these people on the flight that were in this big group from my school thought I was some like, you know, crazy person. So, 16-hour flight, the stewardesses were like unbelievably rude, maybe the most rude people I'd ever met at that point. Then we get to Paris and we were staying at this like, not a hostel, but it was like a hotel that kind of reminds me of a hostel in my thinking about it. It was like very small, little beds, like little bathroom. It was like not great. I roomed with this girl named Allie, and there's another girl named Patricia, or was it, I forget her name, but we called her, I think it was Paula, so we called her Paul, and then my roommate was Alex, and I'm Chris, so we have Chris, Alex, Paul, so we're all like man names. So we like became friends. So we all like hung out together, we would eat together. I didn't really like get along with any of the other girls. I didn't really find any of the other girls like super great on the trip. We did a lot of really cool things. We went to every landmark in Paris you can think of. We went to the Eiffel Tower, and it was just so hot, so many people. We got some amazing pictures. I took photos for hours. Actually, I was like the photographer of the group. I had all the cameras. I was such a photographer that other people were in the group, other people were like, hey, I'm not even going to take pictures anymore because Chris is taking pictures of everybody. Like, I was taking pictures of everybody in every event we went to. I was taking pictures of photo shoots. I was taking pictures of everything. I was taking pictures. And that's like, you know, not everybody does that. Like, when you go on a trip with people, it takes a rare person to take pictures of other people with their own camera, because I feel like a lot of people are so into themselves that they don't think about that. I think about that. Like, I want to take pictures of other people doing things because I know that they'll appreciate it, because I would appreciate it too. And if you take pictures of people, they'll take pictures of you, you know? So I took pictures of everybody doing everything. We were there for a really long time. And I lived in Los Angeles at this time, and my family lives in Massachusetts. So my family lives, you know, like my family lives across the United States. One area to the other area. Like, this is America, this is where me and my family live. Oh my god, why do my arms do that? Okay, I'm gonna stop that. Note to self, workout, arms, more at the gym. So my family lives in Massachusetts. I live in Los Angeles. Live very far away from each other already, so I had really no reason to be homesick, but I just remember feeling this feeling of homesick that I had never felt before. You know, I didn't have my cell phone. I had to use like a calling card. I just remember feeling so unbelievably far away from everyone and everything that I knew. To this day, I don't feel that I've ever felt so unbelievably far away and disconnected. So, the men. Let's talk about the men in Paris. So, men were very aggressive, and like one of the girls on the trip was married, and her husband was like this very big black man, and she was a tiny little Asian woman. And we had gone out to a bar once, and it was like all the girls, and then this, you know, girl and her husband. And her husband had to literally like tell men to leave us alone because they would be coming up. And they'd be like, we don't care, we are married, but we do not care. Well, and it was like very aggressive and like very crazy. Also, people were just really rude. Like, thon is tuna, and at the time I would eat fish. So I'd be like, thon, for like a tuna sandwich, like, thon, pointing at it. And they'd be like, what? Like, and trying to skip you in line. Like, they were just, the French people hated us. But I do have to say, like, Americans are very loud. Like, I remember one instance, we were, a group of us from, you know, the school, were waiting at the train thing, what's it called, like a subway, underground, and we were, like, talking and laughing, and then we stopped talking and laughing, and it was, like, silent. Just pure silence. Like, people in France speak like, hello, how are you? I'm doing well. It's great. They talk in a very subdued, low manner because I guess that, I mean, it's honestly, it's a lot nicer. It's nicer, like, being out in public and, like, not hearing people scream. But Americans, we scream talk. And it's just funny because it was like, this group of girls were talking, and then we stopped talking, and it was like, silence. Like, nobody was talking. I can't do this with my arms anymore. I'm like, I think we're like a shawl. So nobody was talking. Like, you know, it's like, people didn't talk. And everywhere we went, like, everyone knew we were Americans because we were so loud and obnoxious. There's also this thing called summer solstice, which is when, like, you go out in the streets and it's like a party pretty much. I wore a dress. Not a short dress, just a dress. And so many people kept pulling up my dress, like, would walk by me and pull up my dress. I'm very masculine. Like, I am very, like, just, like, crazy. I try to fight, like, 50 different people. Like, I was like, get the fuck away from me, who the fuck you think you are? Like, I was like, bro! I'm such a man, it's, yeah. So, everywhere we went, it was so hard to just have a good time. Like, people were crazy. There was so many people I got into arguments with and fights with, and, like, people would follow you and chase you. It was just, Paris was really not good. It was really awful. I'm gonna be very real with you. And all the girls on my trip, like, all of them turned out to be, like, super big whores. And every time we'd go somewhere, they would, like, have to talk to men. I have very high standards and very high self-esteem. I don't need to fuck up somebody or, like, have somebody to flirt with to have a good time. I mean, I can be with my camera and a drink and have a great time, you know? I can be out with my girls and have a good time. And even though I didn't have a boyfriend or anything, I was still like when guys would talk to me, I'm like, that's great, awesome, you live in Paris, like, I'm never gonna see you again. Where all these other girls were like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, and blah, 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 in Paris. I mean, I don't know why I was just not caught up into that. Like, I didn't want to have, like, a romantic relationship in Paris, but everybody else did, and that kind of sucked, because I wanted to, like, drink and have fun and, like, party, and a lot of the girls had, like, these heart emojis, you know, like, they all, like, wanted to talk to these guys. But it was fun. We did do a lot of fun stuff. We got a lot of great meals. We did a lot of awesome stuff. We went to Euro Disney. I had so much fun, you know? And I had so much fun, but at the same time, I think that I had this expectation that, I don't know, if, like, there's something you want to do as a child so bad, and you think about it, like, every night, and then as an adult you do it, I think that a lot of times it's going to disappoint you. So the people are rude, and that was another thing, is that we had to do a lot of things because we were, like, with the trip with the school, and, like, you'd get in trouble if you didn't go. So, like, we went to a lot of fashion shows, and I'm talking about great fashion shows and, like, not so great fashion shows. So we went to, like, a lot of stuff, and we did so much, like, just a lot of great stuff, but it kind of, you know, it gets to you at a certain point, and should I get to the real story here? Okay. I already didn't really like Paris. I already was, like, kind of fed up with all of it. We were supposed to leave in 2 days. 2 days. 2 days until I went back to America. 2 days until I saw the American flag in my eyes. We went out, a group of girls, to celebrate because we were leaving in 2 days. So we go to this bar, and we're at this bar, and all of the girls were talking to, like, all these really creepy Frenchmen. I mean, half of them didn't even speak English. Like, my roommate, all these guys, everybody's hanging out, everyone's, like, making out. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna go. And I left the bar by myself. And thank God for this girl, Marcel. If Marcel didn't follow me, I might not be here. If Marcel didn't follow me, I could have been killed. I also very easily could have been raped. A lot of really bad things could happen to me if Marcel didn't follow me. And at this point in my life, I was very, very much so, like, I mean, I have a very, like, I'm an Aries, I have a very dominant, like, male, like, very masculine personality. At this point in my life, I felt very indestructible. Like, I felt like nobody could ever take me off of this peg that I was on. And I was like, I'm leaving, like, fuck everybody, I'm going. So Marcel, I remember her, I can so clearly remember her being like, Chris, wait for me. And she followed me, and we went and we got like French fries, and they put ketchup and like mayonnaise on it. So we're eating these French fries and we're walking, and this group of like black street thugs started following us. And they're like, hello, what like speaking to us, and I was like, please get away from us, please get away, like not fucking interested. Like eating my fries, and please get the fuck away from us. Like I remember screaming at them, like get the fuck away from us. Nobody cares. Like no one cares. He grabbed my purse, which was a Louis Vuitton, like snatched it and ran. And his friend, one of the other street thugs, like, you know, behind me, grabbed me and took a pistol and hit me in the back of the head with this pistol. And so I started gushing blood. So I'm gushing blood, I'm screaming, and I'm running. I'm just running. And I actually borrowed my roommate's shoes that night because I liked them, and she was a size like 9 and I'm a size like 7.5, 8. So her shoes were like boats on me, and I'm running and her shoes are falling off. And I just like throw her shoes off and I'm running, and I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna jump on this fucking guy. I'm just gonna like, whirl, I'm gonna fucking beat his brains in. Why? Why, Kristen? Like seriously, why would you chase some guy that has a pistol that whipped you in the head? Why would you do that? So I sat down. I just sat down in the middle of the street and I just cried. I cried so hard. Not because this street thug just hit me, but because I missed America, I missed my family, I missed the local grocery store I went to, I missed my car, I missed my dog, I missed everything. I couldn't believe that somebody in a second just took me from like being so strong to so weak. And I hated that. I hated feeling weak, and I hated feeling that I didn't protect myself and that I didn't do something to that fucker. And I just remember sitting there and just crying and thinking like, I'm a failure, I fucked up, I could have protected myself, I could have saved myself, I should have known, like why didn't I know, why didn't I think about it, you know, why did I, you know, like even though I told him to get the fuck away from me, like there were so many of them, you should have known, you know, and I just sat there and cried. And these like Belgium people came up to me and they were like trying to talk to me, and I kept screaming that my passport was in my bag, but it wasn't. My passport was not in my bag, but I kept screaming that my passport was in my bag because I felt like if I did that, they would look for my bag more. So then this car pulls up. It's this black car, not marked. Had 6 men were inside, and they rolled down the window and they looked at me, and then they like drove off, and then they came around and they stopped and they looked at me again. I'm in the middle of the street screaming. It's like 2 a.m., you know, bleeding from my head. I'm crazy. So Marcel catches up to me, and she's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And then these men pull her around again, and like, what happened? And she's like, these guys, they mugged her, blah, blah, blah. And this guy goes, shows his hand, and it says police. It's like police in French. And that's it. Like all dressed in black, police. And he says, get in, let's go find them. And I said, no, like, fuck you. I don't know who the fuck you are. You could be stealing us and taking us for sex trafficking. So I'm like, but I'm still like, I'm able to like talk, screaming. I got the guy from Belgium's phone and called my parents, and I was like hysterically screaming. My brother is at my parents' house. My brother is like, I'm gonna fucking go there. I'm gonna fucking kill these people. Like I can hear my brother in the back like, how the fuck does this happen? Like we need to get to fucking Paris. And my mom is crying and my dad's screaming, and like, you know, they're very typical Boston people. And I'm like just crying, and Marcel gets in the car, and I just like, I'm like, Marcel, don't get in the car, like this be sex traffickers. You could be like you're gonna be like fucking stole. But I truly at this point did not think these were the police. Like these men were in a black car, all dressed in black, like a fucking wristband that you could make or get on Etsy that says police. So I'm like, she gets in the car, and I just stood up and started running. Like, I ran like Rudy. I ran like a person who was fighting for their life, because at this point, I truly believed that Marcel was going to be fucking sold to sex slavery, and I was alone. I get to the hotel, I guess it was a hotel, and I'm banging on the doors, and they lock it at a certain time. I'm banging and I'm screaming, and there was blood everywhere. There's blood all over my hands. There was blood marks on the doors, and I'm screaming. I'm like, let me the fuck in, I'm an American citizen. I just kept screaming I was an American citizen. Like, I'm an American, you can't do this to me. Guy opened that door and I just swung it open. And I went up to the room, and my roommate wasn't there, nobody was there, and I was just like screaming. I guess the front guy, you know, alerted the chaperones. Chaperone comes to the room, I'm like fucking insane. My roommate comes back and she's like, da-da-da, are you okay? Like, I'm your friend. I'm like, you're not my fucking friend. Marcel's been kidnapped. I'm in Paris. Like, it's just such insanity. So Marcel came back to the hotel. Marcel was not kidnapped into sex slavery. Those actually were the police. I guess that's what they wear at night to, like, not be, you know, discovered. It was probably, like, one of the most scary situations I've ever had to deal with in my life, because I truly felt like I was going to be killed. I truly felt like I felt the most helpless I've ever felt in my whole life. That's not true. That's not true. I felt the second most helpless I have ever felt in my entire life. So Marcel came back. She lived. Teacher told me that was the first time in 25 years of the school taking people to Paris, through the Paris trip, that they ever had anybody, like, be mugged or pistol whipped or anything. So I had to go to the police station in France, and I had to fill out a police report in French, and I had to see a group lineup, and I picked out somebody, but then I was supposed to, like, go to court in France, and I'm talking about, like, real court in France, and I decided that I just didn't want to, because I didn't really know who did it. I couldn't really remember what he looked like. The big downer of that was that my camera was in my purse. So all 5,421 photos I took of 4 months of living in Paris were gone. I have one picture of me in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video on how I was pistol whipped in Paris. Please leave me some thumbs up if you like this video. If you want more like it, please leave me some comments below if you have any questions, concerns, or if you just want to tell me your story about how you were assaulted abroad. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.